This doc might be preaching to the choir. However, did I learn new information? The answer, yes. Chase Lehocky here with the Blue Futon reviewing The Man You Don't Know. What is about pretty simple premise. They talk about President Trump and just things about him you might not know because the media refuses to talk about. And of course, this preaches to the choir. You know who's going to watch this movie. Trump fans are going to watch this movie. Anyone who is completely anti-Trump will not watch this movie. So like I said, it's preaching to the choir. However, when I watch a doc, I want to make sure I'm learning new information, and this did. So when we talk about this movie, I think it's well shot, well edited. It has some pretty solid interviews. And when I look for a doc like this, I know with like Vindicating Trump and other docs, you get all the high profile people. You get the same thing here. Laura Trump, Eric Trump, Don Jr., Kimberly Guilfoyle, if I'm saying her name correctly. However, you're getting different people that Trump actually helped, about paying off a farm in Georgia, about an army cancer patient, about a cop, about a rapist in New York that raped 14 individuals, and the cop in the precincts was running out of funds, and they needed 40K, and Trump donated 40K, and he doesn't ask for publicity. And I think that's what this doc is trying to say is there's a lot of things that people don't talk about, like him. You know, the Rainbow Coalition, about having people in Trump Tower for free, Jennifer Hudson's family, and things like that, where you're just like, oh, you don't want to talk about that, but he's still racist. And they have a person who's in charge of the Trump Foundation. She's black, has been working there for 18 years. And some people are like, how dare you work for him as a black lady? And she's like, I've been working for them for 18 years. I started as the bottom, and now I'm this high up. So they've only treated me with great respect. And there's other things in this film where you're just like, I did not know that. I did not know that. And it's really interesting. And this does talk about from Trump when he was kind of a kid, his grandfather, his father, about him going to military school, which I did not know that. And they actually interviewed people that were at his military academy and what he did. So you get information where it's like, I didn't know that. That's pretty good. But then after that, you kind of get the 1990s Trump about what he did with going on The View a lot, where Whoopi Goldberg loves him, or, you know, Oprah Winfrey, or all these things as well, where you're just like, oh, so they did like him until he went down the escalator and said he was Republican. Then all of a sudden, NBC goes down the drain with them. All celebrities down the drain. Of course, you have some kind of slowly coming back to him, like Ice Cube kind of endorsing him. I'm going to call it an endorsement, but he's like, yo, when I ask for help, the Republicans say, what do you want to talk about? But then Democrats are like, let's wait until after the election. Or you have Hulk Hogan finally coming out after the assassination. Teppan's like, you know what? I need to stop being a bitch, if you want to put it that way. Even though I would never tell him a bitch, but him being like, I need to speak up finally. Or Dennis Quaid being in his corner. Or Zachary Levi being in his corner. Because, of course, Zachary Levi is more RFK Jr., but he's like, yo, I've seen what the Democrats did to RFK Jr., taking him off the ballot. So there's that. So you get that information, like, okay, that's interesting. And yes, there is some religious undertone as well about like linking a Bible verse to the time he got shot, which is like, yeah, that's pretty creepy coincidence, but is it a stretch? Sure. But there are other Bible verses they add into this movie that, you know, kind of correlate with Trump. And of course, some people are going to roll their eyes with that, but I really didn't have an issue with it because it wasn't on the foreground. It was more of like, you know, Bible verse, you know, talk about God, talk about Trump, of what he wants to do with America, making America first. And I honestly don't have an issue with that, making America first, because when we send money to Lebanon or money to Iran, there are countries that are like, death to America, and we're like, oh, here's $150 billion, where it's like, how many potholes are here? And how long does it take for government to make a $1.2 million toilet in San Francisco? And speak about that, government contracts, takes forever. And it does talk about this in this movie, where it took 6.5 years for New York to try to get the skating rink working or just built. And it took Trump and private contractors 3.5 months. 6 years, 3.5 months. And Trump doesn't really tout that, like, oh, I did this. And that's something that's really talked about. And of course, when you have other politicians like, well, I did this in the past, it's like, how about you go like the Saint Bernadette route where you leave the room before being thanked? And then when I went to France, that was a huge quote that kind of stuck with me of like, I don't like being thanked either, but having that quote of like, just do your job, make everyone happy, be good at your job, and leave the room before being thanked. And I think that's the best type of leader because that proves that you're not sitting there and being laughing like, oh, you're not going to thank me, even though I did this, and you're just like, yo, maybe just leave because you just did your job and you did it well. But overall, the man you didn't know, what is the doc supposed to do? It's supposed to give you new information. It gave me new information. Yes. Is this preaching to the choir? Abso-freaking-lutely. However, when talking about the different docs that did come out about Trump this year, this is probably one of the better ones, hands down. And if you're wondering, why aren't you reviewing all the other ones? Well, where are the other ones? I mean, if you do a Kamala Harris one, it's going to be like the knee pad crew and putting people in jail for ridiculous crimes, which this also talks about Trump pardoning people as well as taking people out of jail with the First Step Act, I think is what it's called. So like I said, the interviews for this show / movie really did work. So the man you didn't know will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futon because at 80%. Let's see what the critics and user scores gave this one. Sorry, the man you don't know. Slap in the face. Anyway, one review, a positive. So we have my 80 and just one positive. Chase Leoc here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more things, Blue Futontopia. You Blue Futonians, thank you for watching. Have a great day. I don't care if you watch today, tomorrow, a week from, a month, or a year from. Every single freaking one of you. Peace and love. Peace and love. I'm pretty sure this review is going to come out on November 5th.